everyone, and welcome to the DSS Break. It's great to have all of you guys here today. I'm Anna Annison, the founder of Data Science Salon, and today I'm streaming directly from our HQ, which is beautifully located in the heart of Miami, just a couple blocks away from the Design District. And we're here live every other week to discuss the world of data science, AI, and machine learning. And we chat about unique experiences and best practices with leading data professionals in a 15-minute break. And today I'm really excited to welcome Brian Cruz. He's the head of AI engineering and advocate. And Brian is at the forefront of integrating AI technologies to make the digital world more accessible, which is really awesome, especially for those in underrepresented communities. With a robust background in AI and engineering and passion for ethical technology use, Brian has led initiatives that significantly improve how AI systems address the real varied needs of individuals with disabilities, which is really awesome. And his work also emphasizes the crucial balance between advancing tech and also ensuring that it serves a meaningful purpose in the world. So thank you so much for joining us today for this DSS Break episode, Brian.
Awesome. Thanks. It's great to be here.
So let's dive right in. I usually ask everybody in the beginning, how did you get into this space? What was your journey? How did you end up in AI and machine learning in the first place?
Yeah, so I kind of have like a very circuitous route to get to where I am today. But let me just go back. I did college in pure math. And after that, I went to work at the same community college I went to, teaching basic math to students. And I actually cut my teeth there working for the rights of immigrant rights, on immigrant rights campaigns and also labor rights. And after that, I decided to go back to school. I wanted to get more into science. I started studying DNA and how you package DNA inside bacteriophage viruses, but simulating that using GPUs. And so that was really cool. I had a fun time. I also had, my partner and I had a second kid at that time. So I said, oh, let me go back into the workforce. Worked at Salesforce for a while on Einstein Guidance. Worked at a company called Samba TV, where I was working as a data engineer and also working on R&D for AI on the edge. And now I'm working at Advocate, where we are using generative AI and really just technology, software, and great product instinct to help disabled individuals apply for the disability benefits that they deserve. And that it's so hard to get to in this country because there's a tremendous backlog. And this is where we think technology can really help us process and get through these applications more quickly.
Cool. No, that's a really awesome journey. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, every person has such an interesting story. It's really cool. And I think I actually know you from Samba TV because, I feel like that they've been part of DSS for a while. So I think that's how you probably got connected to our family here. So I would love to hear, maybe you could share a recent project that you've worked on where AI played a crucial role in enhancing accessibility. So maybe something that you're working on now and maybe some challenges and some good outcomes that you could share.
Yeah, definitely. So let me just set the stage a little. Right now, we live in a world where there is essentially one way to grow up, one way to go to school, to go to work, be productive. And this way simply doesn't work for so many people in our society. You know, if you look at the numbers put out by the BLS or also by the CDC, it's anywhere between 13 and 28% of individuals in the US that are disabled. And this is not right if our technology is not accessible for people. So the project I work on primarily is not for making, well, I can talk about technologies that are being created like captioning. Captioning is something where people are trying to caption more videos so that social media is more accessible for people. There are thousands of hours that go up every day where it is not accessible to people who are blind and low vision. What I'm working on and what we work on at Advocate is if someone is unable to work because of their disability, they should be able to apply for Social Security disability insurance with the government, or also SSI if they don't have work credits. And it's a very hard process. You know, you really need an advanced degree to understand these forms. And this is where we think having technology play a role in going through the thousands of pages of medical evidence and of vocational evidence, and to say, hey, you know what, we actually think there's a case here.
Right.
Let's help you out. Let's get this application submitted. And we want to be able to use technology to be able to streamline this process, and then to be able to focus on giving the human touch where we think that's really important. We're very focused on actually speaking with people, and to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, no, I think that's very important. And what, you mentioned some things like, I think maybe chatbots or something, but what other advantages does generative AI offer in creating more accessible technologies? I feel like there's so many interesting use cases. I'm sure you could share more from specifically your industry.
Yeah, definitely. So the first thing to say is, this whole generative AI revolution is new for all of us, right? This has only happened in the last few years. And as with new technologies, they're very exciting. There's a lot of promise there, but also we have to be careful with what we're putting out there, and we have
Right.
to test them thoroughly, right? So let's take chatbots, for instance. They can be, in theory, a great method for being able to ask someone, hey, tell me about the medications you've taken over the last few years. And for some people, this is a great interface. It's better than actually talking to a human being. If you don't want to share that with a real human being, that could work. But in terms of so sometimes it's good, but then for other people, it actually doesn't work. So what
Right.
if you are not able to use a keyboard? And if we're using voice recognition in order to be able to understand someone, what if they do not speak in the way that is expected by a lot of these services? So they will normally
Right.
expect some type of accent, and they will expect normally someone who is able to. Sometimes people with disabilities are not understood by these systems at all. So there are a lot of different cases, and we need to be cognizant of all of them to make sure that we are able to be inclusive of all of our customers.
Right. No, that's a great answer. Thank you so much. And what about, let's talk about, you kind of mentioned a little bit about data, and the question always goes back to the ethical concern related to bias and privacy when using AI to improve accessibility. Because what are your thoughts about that? Because I feel like there could be bias. I mean, like, how do we prevent that from happening, especially against people with accessibility, right?
Yeah, definitely. So just before this talk, actually, I did a search. I did a search in one of the text to image generation engines. And there's a paper put out recently. I think it was by Google and researchers at University of Washington. And they noticed that, yes, there is a bias in these text generation systems. When you ask it to create an image of a disabled person, there is racial bias in the person that is there. The type of disability that is represented is biased. The thing I noticed very prominently, so there are actually a number of people very dear to me that have a number of mental conditions, and so I looked these up. Display an image of generate an image of an individual with let's say schizophrenia, and if you look at it, and the way the article explains it is, they say uh, a lot of these images have a horror-like aesthetic, and it's really jarring to to see this. Like, you say generate an image of an individual with schizophrenia, and rather than seeing something like John Nash, who created who's a famous mathematician and for working on the Nash equilibria, and who suffered from that disorder, we see something which is really just a stereotype.
Right.
And this is representative not just of, I'd say it comes from three places. The data is biased, and
Yep.
we need to invest effort into fixing the data. These use cases aren't checked, and we need to invest more effort into seeing, like, hey, this is not right. Let's fix this right now before putting it out there. And then three, the institutions that are doing research on this need to, and I think this is one place where we are doing better, and of course we can always improve more, but be more inclusive in the research teams who are working on these types of projects.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, that's a great answer. Thank you so much, Brian. And the next question for you would be, what advice would you give, especially now that the whole, as we're talking about generative AI, and what would you give, the advice would you give developers who want to ensure their work is accessible to all users? And, we talked a little bit about making sure that, the bias is not there, but what other things should they think about, if any?
Yeah, so the number one thing is to get your product out in front of users from these different backgrounds. And
Right.
this is the main thing you can do to check the bias and inaccessibility you have in your product. Uh, know who your customers are, make sure your product actually works for them. One of the problems with generative AI these days is that it's so easy to get a model out there quickly, so easy to put something out there and to say, look, I've done it. But you forget that there's a whole world of metrics and measuring and ML ops and data science where it's actual day-to-day work of understanding who your customer is and are you actually solving a problem here. There's something called I think it's called the disability dongle, where you are providing a solution to a problem that doesn't really exist. And so, are we providing a solution to something that doesn't exist? Are we providing a solution that is actually useful to people? That's something we have to ask ourselves. And if it's not, then we need to reevaluate and work more on improving what we're doing. I'd like to say there's one thing I'd add on here. If you're interested in really making sure your products are more accessible, it's great to understand the history of the disability rights movement in the United States. There's a great documentary on Netflix called Crip Camp that goes through the history of this campaign, and it's great to see that you don't need AI to fix problems in society, but we recognize it as a tool that can help us overcome some of the technical burdens we see. For instance, thousands of pages of medical records. It's a tool that can help us get through these pages quickly, but we have to roll up our sleeves and understand what the problem is and try to fix it from a fundamental level.
All right. No, 100%. No, thanks for that answer. And where do you, that goes into, one of my last questions for you about the future. And I mean, I feel like it will be positive. How will AI shape, kind of the future of accessibility? It sounds like there's a lot of opportunities, especially through like AI agents to help people. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so this is the big question, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's wondering what's gonna happen. Are we understating? Are we overstating what AI is gonna do? Um, I don't know which side I'm gonna put my hat in, but uh, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that technology we see today can really transform a lot of things around us. I think the hesitancy a lot of people have is that they don't feel like they have power over how it's going to happen. I think that's the most important thing. And so, what can you do to really make sure you have power over how the AI uh, technologies, or really just all technologies, are implemented? And I think that really starts with us. What do we do as individuals? What's the work we take on? If we're joining a company, join a company with a heart. Work with a team of people who are aligned on a mission that aligns with your own values. I think these are very important things, and it's we can't really say it'll go one way or the other. It's up to us.
Yeah, no, bravo. I think that's a really good answer again. Thank you, Brian. And the last question is, what would you recommend for those people trying to get into the field or maybe transition from another technical field into this AI now because it's so, sought after? What would your advice be?
Uh, Immerse yourself in it. Surround yourself with the generative AI technologies incorporated into your workflow. One of the interesting things you'll see is that when you're working with generative AI a lot is it will generate content you have to check it, and you have to say, no, I don't like this. I don't like this. I do like this. This gets back to one of the accessibility things where all generative AI content needs to be reviewable. You need to be able to look at and say, you know what, let me see the next one. I'd say that's probably the next step for people wanting to improve accessibility in generative AI. So if you generate an image, someone who is not able to see the image still needs to be able to verify what is there and choose whether they want it or not. It's about choice here.
Right.
And it's about empowering the users.
Right. No, thank you so much. It was spending time with us today, Brian, and for sharing your expertise. It was really great to have you here, and I learned a lot. And if you guys enjoyed this session, Brian is going to be talking about reimagining accessibility in the age of generative AI at DSS San Francisco, just 2 weeks exactly away from today, on November 7th. So I hope to see some of you guys there. It's going to be a really nice day. And Brian, I look forward to meeting you there in person.
Awesome. Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, guys. It was great to see everybody again. Have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.